Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through the noise to bring you those core insights you really need. Today we're diving into something many of you might have heard about, healing the inner child. But we want to go a bit deeper than just the surface level, really get into why some patterns stick around and how a key shift in perspective can lead to real self-compassion.
Yeah, and central to this whole deep dive, really, is this specific moment of realization. It's powerful. It often boils down to finally understanding deep down that it wasn't my fault. That phrase unlocks so much.
Right. So our mission today is to explore how those early experiences kind of imprint on us, creating these lasting patterns in adulthood, and crucially, how seeing where they came from can actually lead to, well, profound healing. We're hoping you'll find some aha moments and some really practical stuff here. So let's start with the term itself, inner child. It's definitely more mainstream now, but maybe when you first heard it, it sounded a bit like self-help jargon. How do we frame it now?
Oh, absolutely. It can sound a bit like, pop psychology at first blush. But when you dig in, you start seeing how these adult patterns, like maybe you're always trying to please everyone, or you have this intense fear of being left alone, or you have to be perfect. They're not random at all. They're often, well, they're like rehearsals from childhood, learned ways to cope. It's basically a scared little version of yourself kind of pulling the strings subconsciously.
That's a powerful image, a younger self running the show behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So what's the root cause? Why do these patterns get such a grip on us?
Exactly. And the really tough part, the thing that makes them stick so hard, is this belief we internalize that somehow, whatever happened back then, it was our fault, that maybe we weren't good enough, not lovable enough, or that we always had to, earn feeling safe or loved. And that belief, that deep feeling of fault, that sets the whole stage. It's the core wound we keep bumping up against.
Wow, yeah, that idea that you were fundamentally flawed. That sounds incredibly heavy to carry around. I'm curious, in your own experience, was there like a specific moment, a breakthrough in therapy maybe, that really cracked that belief open for you?
Oh, definitely. There's this one session, it was incredibly powerful. I was going on and on, like usual, about feeling like I was just too much, too difficult, always a burden. The same old story I told myself for years. And my therapist just stopped me, cut right through it all, and asked this question that just broke everything open. She said, what if it was never about you being too much and always about them not knowing how to love properly?
Whoa, okay, that hits differently. How did that specific way of putting it unlock something? What changed?
It shattered everything. My whole framework for understanding myself. I think I cried for an hour straight, no joke, because for the very first time, it truly clicked deep down. My pain wasn't just random noise. It actually made sense in context. But the huge part, the life-changing part, was realizing it wasn't my fault. And that shift, it's not just about forgiving others. It's about taking your power back, understanding that your childhood reactions, those were survival attempts, not proof of some inherent flaw.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And realizing that frees you up to respond differently now as an adult because you're not operating from that old place of self-blame anymore. It validates everything you went through, but from a place of innocence.
That moment of clarity, that it wasn't my fault, seems like the real turning point. And it leads into this idea of reparenting. That term can sound a bit clinical or abstract, maybe?
Yeah.
How do you actually do that? What are some practical, everyday things you started doing?
Yeah, it does sound a bit formal, doesn't it? But really, reparenting is just consciously giving yourself the things you maybe didn't get enough of as a kid, the nurturing, the validation, the feeling safe part. You essentially become the kind, responsive parent to that younger part of yourself.
Yeah.
And honestly, it starts really small. For me, a first step was just talking to myself more kindly, consciously catching the harsh inner critic and choosing gentler words instead. It sounds simple, maybe, but it's actively fighting that old "it's my fault" voice and building a supportive one inside.
So consciously choosing kindness over criticism, like overriding the old programming. What else? What other steps followed that?
Another thing that was really powerful for me was writing letters, actually writing to my younger self.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, acknowledging her feelings, validating what she went through, telling her the things she really needed to hear back then, but maybe never did. And then a huge one, a really practical one, boundaries. Learning to set boundaries.
That can be hard.
So hard. But understanding it wasn't about pushing people away. It was about finally protecting that kid inside me who never felt truly safe. Every time you set a boundary, you're kind of making a promise to that inner child. See, I've got you. I won't abandon you. I'll keep you safe. It rewires that need to constantly earn safety.
That's such a powerful reframe. protecting the kid inside. I also love the idea you mentioned about simple acts of play. What did that involve for you?
Oh, yeah. That was actually really fun. I literally bought kids' coloring books and bubbles. Got a swing set for the backyard. Just simple things that brought that younger part of me some uncomplicated joy, doing it without feeling guilty or silly. It's like saying, hey, you deserve joy just for being you. And, the fascinating thing, the bigger picture here, is that this kind of healing, it isn't about becoming some totally new person. It feels much more like returning. Returning to who you were before the world made you afraid, before you built up all those defenses based on blame and fear. It's like shedding layers. So if there's one core thing I'd want everyone listening to take away from this deep dive, it's this. Your trauma, whatever happened, it wasn't your fault. You were a child doing your best to survive. But you're healing, moving forward. That is your responsibility now, and that's where your power lies.
Yeah, that distinction is crucial. It's not about blame, it's about agency now. And it really does come down to those small, everyday acts of reparenting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like you said, choosing gentleness over judgment. That's an act of nurturing that inner child, dismantling that old blame, saying no when you need to, without that crushing guilt. That's you showing up, promising safety, saying, I won't abandon you. This whole journey, it's not about becoming someone else. It really feels like coming home to yourself and finally showing up for that part of you that felt alone for so long.
Exactly. So if any of this resonates, if you've ever felt like that scared kid stuck in an adult body, please know you're not broken. You're just remembering. And hopefully this conversation feels like we're walking alongside you on that path.
Absolutely. And maybe leave you with this thought to chew on. If releasing that self-blame, just that one shift toward self-compassion, can start to unlock decades of old patterns, what other forgotten parts of yourself might be waiting to be rediscovered and brought back into the light, just through small, consistent acts of kindness and understanding toward yourself?